Guys, my name is Chike-James and you're welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time of coming into this channel, you're absolutely welcome. Please stick with me to the end of this video. Give this video a thumbs up, say something nice in the comment section down below, and hit that subscribe button and become part of this family. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you for coming back as well. I appreciate that you're here again. Please watch this video to the end, give it a thumbs up, say something nice in the comment section down below, and share this video if you would love to. All right, so today is like a story time. It's like a gist kind of day. I'm going to be telling you for my labor and delivery experiences for my three children. So if you are interested in this story and you want to know how my labor and my delivery experience went, keep watching, don't go anywhere. So I had my first child in 2014. Then we had just moved into a new city. My husband and I, after we got married, we moved into a new city. So we didn't know much hospitals. We didn't know, we didn't just want to take the risk of going to try out hospitals or just people's recommendations. My husband wanted to be sure that I had the baby with a hospital. He's sure that everything will move on well, everything will work out fine. We didn't want to hear any stories. So we had to go back to the city. And let me mention that at this time I was 8 months pregnant. I think the last week in the 8 months, so we had to go back to his family doctor, a doctor he was sure of that could handle me well. So when I was almost due for delivery, I had to go to the city where his parents stay to stay with them, just until the baby came out. I think I traveled to that city in the last week of my 8 months. All right, so I registered for antenatal. I did all the routine checks, everything they had to check. I basically came there to have a baby, but you can't just come like on the day of delivery and say you want to have a baby. So you would have to come like few weeks before your delivery so that they would just check and make sure everything is intact and in place. Okay, so that was what I did. I went there like 2 weeks before my EDD or thereabouts. Okay, so I was there, but my husband was still back, in our city where we live, working and doing other stuff. So I was there in the other city where I was supposed to have a baby, going from antenatal and you know all the checks. And then my EDD came. The baby was not coming forth. There was no labor. So my mother-in-law is like, we'll start taking a walk every evening just to kickstart labor. So every evening we'll walk, go around the whole, just stroll around for a long time and come back. I still climb staircase, so up and down. Nothing was happening. And so few days later, after my EDD, my husband visited. My husband came and he was like, okay, let's go and see the doctor. So we went and met the doctor and we told the doctor that, is why is labor not here yet? It was my first delivery, so I didn't know much. So he was like, it's normal. Sometimes it's usually 2 weeks before your day of delivery or 2 weeks after, so that we are still in range. Okay, we should just wait 2 weeks more. Then we will only be worried if after 2 weeks from the EDD. EDD means expected day of delivery, in case you don't know. We would only be worried after we've waited 2 weeks from the EDD and the baby doesn't come yet. Then we can be worried. Okay, so my husband traveled back, and then one day he just calls me and he's like, I think then we had waited for like, after my EDD, I had waited for like 4 days or 5 days more. I can't really remember exactly, but I just waited few days more from my EDD. And then he calls me and he's like, I'm coming, you are giving birth today, just pack your things. I'm like, okay. All right, so he comes down and then we move to the hospital and he tells the doctor like, what's up, what's going on, let's induce her. And the doctor at first was reluctant. He was like, we don't just induce like that, there's no reason for induction, just hold on, and exhaust the 2 weeks after EDD, then we can now talk about induction. My husband was like, no, like I'm at peace in my spirit, I've prayed about this, and like we both agreed anyway before we went to the hospital. Let just induce her, go ahead and induce her, make sure that check and make sure everything is okay and there won't be any risk Of course, everything has risk, okay, but just make sure that she is fine, the baby is ready to pop. Like if baby pops now, it won't be premature or anything like that. Make sure that everything is okay, and then if everything is fine, let's just move on with induction. So they checked me, they were like, baby is set, heads down, ready to come out. Everything was perfectly fine, just that they were just waiting for labor to trigger itself. Okay, so after much back and forth with the doctor, we agreed to go for the induction. So I think that was around 12 in the afternoon. The doctor induced me. It's just a part. It's just basically a small tablet they just insert in your body, and that is it. That's how you trigger the induction. So they just gave me a room, admitted me into that room, and that was it. And I was there waiting for induction. They just told me I would have to wait for 6 hours or 8 hours. I can't really remember exactly. If nothing happens, they will have to administer another, like induce again. And if nothing happens after the second dose, I think you have to go home or so. I don't even know. I don't like have total details. All I know is that I was induced, and I started waiting for labor to come. So from 12 o'clock, I waited. I didn't feel anything. I was just okay till around 6 p.m. 6 p.m. I started feeling like menstrual cramp, just mild pains, nothing to be worried about, something I could bear. And I was just chilling, feeling myself, and excited that labor is almost here and the signs are beginning to come in. And it came like mild menstrual cramps. From there it started getting a little bit more intense. From mild to like that menstrual cramp that really be painful, that we need an analgesic to ease the pain. From that it went even further. It was becoming intense by hour, intense and intense. I started feeling these pains around 6 p.m. So by 7 p.m. the pains were still there, but nothing I couldn't deal with. I was still feeling cool. By 9 p.m. The pains were getting more intense, but it will just come, and after a while it's a relief. I'll just clutch in pain for a little bit, and then the next minute I'm cool, I'm just gisting. By 10 p.m. around 10, like I was in pain. Now by 11 p.m. towards that period, my water broke, and it was as if immediately the water broke, the pain went from 0 to 100. Like I couldn't think, I was in pain. And by this time the contractions, they are now very close, so they are not giving me enough time. They are not giving me time enough. And this, my son's labor, is my longest labor experience, like longest out of my 3 kids. So the pains would come very intense. I would scream. I would just be in pains for some minutes, and then to relieve me. But this time it wasn't the time difference between the contractions. We are now like smaller, so I would feel pains like that for like 2 minutes, and then I'll just get a few seconds relief, and then the pain hits back. So the pain was just constant like that. And brothers and sisters, it was painful. I was in pain. So I was in the hospital there with my mother-in-law. My husband was in the house, so he was like, once I get into active labor, I should call him. So it was at that point I called him, and then he came all the way to the hospital. And the nurses there, they were saying, don't shout, be strong, man up the pain. If you shout in your face labor, that's how you keep shouting in every of your labor. I'm like, who cares? Like at this point I wasn't listening to anybody. God. As a matter of fact, everything they were saying was just gibberish. I couldn't even hear or understand what they were saying. They were, how Nigerian nurses are. They were like, chill, don't shout, endure the pain, you woman, be strong. I didn't even care. Like I was in severe pain, and then it kept on like that till when the last one hit. It was like it just came with force. That feeling of you're constipating and you're pressed. You're really pressed. You really need to pull, and you're constipating. Like you want to pull, but you can't pull. That feeling. I can't explain it. It hits hard. Like I was pressed, and it came with intense pain around my waist region. I couldn't even walk properly. I was shouting. I needed to use the toilet. I was shouting, and the nurses were like, "Don't use the toilet, though. We are coming." I was shouting. So my husband literally like held me and helped me to the labor room, which was very close to the room I was staying. So we got to the room, no nurse, there was nobody there. The nurses were running up and down, like you didn't know you somebody was going to put to bed that night. Like I was shouting, and my husband was literally shouting, "Nurse, where are you?" And then after a few minutes, like 1 minute or so, they gathered themselves together, and then they came, and I started pushing. And the good thing is that as I got into the labor room, I didn't push for long. The baby popped out. Like I just got into the labor room. I think I pushed like 3 times. The first one they said push, so I pushed like I knew how. I've never pushed before. And the next one like, "Are you joking? Don't you want to have this baby? Is this with this energy you are going to push out this baby? Push hard, you know." Then the second time I tried, and then the third one, I pushed with all my energy and everything, and the baby came out. And oh, God bless my mother-in-law. For each of those times, she was just outside the door, like right in the labor. You could literally hear her praying, interceding. And I know that was what, like, part of, I don't take it for granted. And like, I know that that is part of what saw me through, during my labor. For the three of them, literally, she's always there by the door, and she will keep praying from the time that you slip into labor, active labor. She would keep praying, she would keep praying, she would not blink or sleep. She would keep praying till the baby comes out. While I was in labor room, I could hear her, and her voice gave me strength, honestly. Just knowing that somebody is out there interceding for me in the place of prayer, like, it gave me energy. She's just a sweet mother-in-law. She was there praying until the baby came out, right? And another thing I loved about that hospital was, I think, the staffs there are spiritually sensitive, or maybe because I really prayed, before my labor. I said, "God, please let everything surrounding my labor, I don't want the doctors I'll be on duty that day, the everything, let it just be in place. Angels should just go ahead and get everyone and everybody ready." Okay, so the matron that was on duty before the matron that helped me deliver came was nice, was really nice. And I'm like, "Oh God, I just hope it's this matron that will be with me by the time I'll put it to bed." But labor didn't come before she left, so she handed over to another matron that came. And this matron, when she came, she was kind of mean. She wasn't smiling like the one that just left. She was just mean and firm, and maybe I guess it's just her personality. And I kept on wishing it was the other matron. Something happened that made me know that you can't just judge people from their looks or from their just looking at them. Like, you need to really know people very well before you can conclude on them. As I got into labor, active labor, and she was there in the labor waiting for the baby to pop, this woman was praying, she was singing worship songs, she was praying, and like, I loved that. All those things, kind of, the energy in the room already was spiritually, I don't know, I don't even get what I'm saying. Like, all those things like kind of gave me confidence, like made me feel like I'm in the right hospital. I thank God that this matron is the one taking me. Like, she's literally spiritually on point, and it kept me, helped me a lot. She was just praying while she was with her, all those things they hold, waiting for the baby to come out. She was singing, she was praying until the baby came out. And I couldn't have wished it was another matron that helped me with that child. And that was how I had my first son, and that's the longest labor experience I've had. Now, because I had my first son through induction, I did the same thing for my second and my last. Okay, a big disclaimer at this point. I'm not encouraging or advising anyone to go for induction without the doctor sending you for induction or prescribing that for you. For me, it's a totally different ball game. It's just how we agreed to do it, my husband and I. For Hadassah, for my second child, my daughter, we just agreed and said, "Look, I'm not going to wait for labor. This waiting for labor thing is not, I don't understand why people are 40 weeks pregnant, getting to 10 months pregnant, and you're not doing induction. I don't know why people wait for labor that long." But for me, I just concluded within myself that I agree with my husband that once I'm 38 weeks, I pick a date that is convenient for me and talk to my doctor. Once he checks me and make sure that everything is fine, I go for it. I just go and induce for my baby. So for my second baby, I didn't wait for labor. For my third baby, it was still the same thing. All right. So for my second baby, the same experience. I chose a date. At this time, it was a hospital in the city I was staying with. By then, I was conversant with people and doctors in the hospital, so I just chose a date and we met the doctor, and he's like, okay, this date is cool, all right, so come in a day before your induction, let's just check and make sure everything is fine. So I did that. We came in and he checked everything was okay, and then I came on the day of the appointment for the induction, and he just induced it, the same process, just a tiny tablet in your body. And then a few hours later, for my daughter, I think it wasn't even up to 6 hours, labor triggered, like I was in labor, but her experience is kind of different, because as at the time the labor progressed, it progressed to a point, then the doctor uh, broke the water by himself, and then the thing went from 0 to 100, and the less than, I'm saying, like, I became in pain. My daughter's labor experience didn't last up to 30 minutes. From the time I became in intense pain to the time she popped, it was just, I think, around 6 in the morning. I was still having labor pains before then, but it wasn't something I couldn't bear. It was intense, but I could bear it. I wasn't shouting all over the place. I would just, enjoy it for a while, and then it would ease off. So as at the time the doctor broke my water, that was around 6 in the morning. It went high, and I was in intense pain. So, but from that 6 and the time I had her, Tommy, say hi. So from that 6 to the time I had her was roughly, say, 45 minutes, and she came, and I think hers was just like 2 pushes, the first push and then the second push, and she popped. I credit the whole easy process of delivery to God. It's just him, because me, I can't even explain it. I'm not that strong. I don't have that energy. And also my mother-in-law, she was out there at the door again for the second time, interceding, and she kept on praying until she heard the baby crying. Then she would just burst out and start praising God. And that was my experience with my daughter. And then for my son, the same thing. I carried the baby when once I was 37 weeks. I discussed with my doctor. No, not even before 37 weeks. I think around 36 weeks or 35 weeks. I discussed with my doctor, and I told him, look, I want induction again. And this time it was the same doctor that delivered my second child. And so we picked a date, and he was like, same thing, come in, we'll do a checkup. If everything is fine, we go for it. Okay, so I came in on the day of the induction. I did scan, I did everything that needed to be. They were monitoring the child's heartbeats, and just monitoring me, keeping me in check and all that. And he was like, everything is fine, okay, we can go ahead and do the induction. And he induced me. And this time around, like after the induction, my husband kept, like, even when I had her, when it was my second child, my husband would say, I'm having this baby. Like, once they induced me, he'll be like, you're having this baby in less than, he would just mention the hours, and he'll be like, you're having this baby today. Okay, so once the baby comes, call me. And for some reasons, the nurses never believe that. Maybe they feel induction is not something that comes easy. It has to be like long labor experience and wailing and shouting, and then before it finally happens, maybe it could take 2 days or so. I don't know. For some reasons, they will just laugh over it and say, oh, guy, your own self, you're too in a hurry, it's not possible, she can't have the baby that day. And for all this, like for my second child, he's mentioned it, and it happened the way he said it, and the doctors were amazed. And then again, for the last child, the baby I just had, the same thing happened. When he came, he was like, you're having this baby today, by morning we are leaving. Even the nurse, she was laughing, she was like, it's not possible, Oga, like, at least 24 hours, give it 24 hours. And then, but the funny thing is that it happened the way he said it. Like, labor came, I had the baby before morning. I didn't even meet the nurse, because I was discharged even before it was her shift again. You get what I'm saying? So it's just God. And so that is my labor story. Let me still put in this disclaimer again. Please, if your doctor does not recommend induction for you, I'm not recommending it for anyone, and I'm not encouraging anyone to go for it. So for me, it's a different story, because my husband and I agreed on that. We prayed about it, we got clarity, we had peace, and that was why, it worked out for us. We did it and it was fine. So induction has its risk, it has its own wahala it comes in, but in my case, it was totally different. 3 babies, induction, and it was just the best labor experience ever for the three of them. You know, those moments, they are moments I want to cherish. I just wish I had a video, a clip, or something I could watch over and over and over. I don't know why people, like, some people go through labor and they don't want to go through it again. Labor is painful, oh, don't get me wrong. Like, I felt the pain, I went through the pain, so I know it's painful. But when that baby comes out, like, it's the most beautiful moment. Like, when you have your baby in your arms after the pain, it's the most beautiful feeling ever in the world. I can't explain it. And I cherish those moments. I cherish them. Like, I keep reminiscing on my labor experiences. I keep going back to it, thinking, of the moment that baby pops, and I just get satisfaction just playing it in my head all over and all over and all over again. It's just a beautiful experience. Oh guys, I hope you enjoyed this story time. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please give me a thumbs up, say something in the comment section, and subscribe. If you're not subscribed yet to this channel, I beg you, click on that subscribe button. Subscription is totally free. You don't have to pay nothing. All you need to do is click on that button and you'll be part of this family. Thank you for tuning into this channel, and thank you for watching to the end. Till next time, bye bye.